February is over, and you already feel behind. Take one slow breath. The year is not lost. It is still unfolding. Feel the air enter your body. Feel it leave. Nothing dramatic happened in that breath, but something steady did. The mind says, you're behind. Wisdom says, you're beginning. In January, you set big goals. Wake up at 5 a.m. Exercise daily. Save more money. Launch the project. Fix your diet. Repair that relationship. For a few days, you felt strong. Then work got busy. Energy dropped. Habits slipped. February felt quieter, heavier. You compared yourself to people posting progress online. You checked the calendar and felt pressure rising. 2 months gone, 10 left, and a mind whispers, you wasted it. There is one principle that can steady the remaining 10 months, even if the first 2 felt messy. This is Bodhi Ripple, simple Buddhist wisdom for real life. That principle is this: everything changes, including how this year unfolds. What feels like failure in February can become clarity in March. The early months are not a verdict. They are feedback, and feedback is useful. Let's begin with something simple. 1. The illusion of being behind. The calendar is loud. It shows pages turning. It shows time passing. It makes progress look like a race. But life does not move in straight lines. Some months are preparation months. Some months are messy months. Some months are building months. Impermanence, anicca in Pali, one of the 3 fundamental marks of existence in Buddhist teaching, is not mystical. It's practical. The Buddha taught that clinging to a fixed idea of how things should be is itself a source of suffering. And few ideas cause more quiet suffering than the belief that time lost cannot be recovered. Your energy in January is not your energy forever. Your mistakes in February are not your identity. At work, maybe you missed a promotion. Maybe your savings did not grow. Maybe your gym visit slowed. The mind says, you should be further. But further than what? Further than someone else? Further than a version of you that existed only in imagination? Research in behavioral psychology supports this. Studies on goal pursuit consistently show that people overestimate what they can do in the first weeks of a new year and underestimate what they can build across the remaining months with consistent small effort. The gap between those 2 things is not failure. It is a calibration. Ask yourself, what are you chasing this year? Is it growth, stability, income, peace? Being behind only exists when you measure yourself against a story. Drop the story. Look at the facts. You are here. It is March soon. You have 10 months. That is not late. That is time. And time responds to direction, not regret. Which brings us to the next shift. 2. Direction over intensity. January loves intensity. Big plans, big energy, big promises. But intensity burns out. Direction lasts. Panic plans loudly. Clarity plans quietly. James Clear, in Atomic Habits, describes this precisely. He notes that a 1% improvement each day compounds to nearly 37 times better by year's end. Not dramatic leaps. Tiny, repeated movements in the right direction. The Buddha pointed to the same truth through the middle way. The path that avoids the extreme of too much striving and too much giving up. Balance, not force. Continuity, not intensity. Imagine 2 people. One decides to fix their finances in one dramatic move. They cut everything, track every cent, stress daily. By March, they feel exhausted and quit. Another person chooses direction. They reduce one expense. They automate one savings transfer. They review money once a week calmly. By December, the second person is stable. Direction beats intensity. The same applies to health. Instead of, I will transform my body, try, I will walk 20 minutes, 5 days a week. Walking, incidentally, is not a small thing. Research from a Harvard Medical School has found that 21 minutes of daily walking reduces the risk of heart disease by 30%. Small does not mean insignificant. Small means sustainable. Instead of, I will build a new career in 60 days. Try, I will build one skill steadily. What would steady effort look like until December? Not dramatic, not extreme, steady. That question changes the rest of your year, and it reveals something important. 3. Observe the panic, don't obey it. When February ends, panic appears. It feels urgent. It feels convincing. Fix everything now. But panic is not wisdom. It is fear reacting to time. In Buddhist practice, this observational stance is rooted in sati, mindfulness. The Satipatthana Sutta, one of the most widely studied discourses in the Pali Canon, teaches the practice of observing mental states as they arise, without immediately acting on them. You see the thought. You do not become it. You don't suppress the thought. You don't fight it. You notice it. I feel behind. That is a thought, not a fact. A thought. Neuroscience supports this approach. When we label an emotion, when we say this is fear or this is comparison, activity in the amygdala, the brain's threat detection center, measurably decreases. The act of naming creates distance. Distance creates choice. Pause. Name it. Fear. Comparison. Pressure. When you name a thought, it loses control. At work, maybe you see a colleague advancing. The mind tightens. Instead of spiraling, try this. Pause. Label. Comparison. Ask, what is one useful action right now? Send one email. Complete one task. Update one skill. Action restores stability. The mind says, fix your entire year. Wisdom says, take one useful step. That step is enough for today. And enough days create a year. But something else quietly blocks progress. 4. The story of this is just who I am. Maybe January slipped because you lack discipline. Maybe February faded because you're inconsistent. That is the story the mind creates. I always quit. I'm not structured. I never follow through. Be careful. In Buddhist teaching, this kind of fixed self-story is related to anicca, the illusion of a permanent, unchanging self. The Buddha taught that what we call self is actually a flowing collection of experiences, habits, and conditions. Nothing about you is permanently fixed, including the habits that slipped. Early months are feedback. They are not identity. If your routine failed, it means the routine was unrealistic. If your plan collapsed, it means the plan lacked structure. It does not mean you are broken. Carol Dweck's research on growth mindset, developed at Stanford University, confirms what Buddhist philosophy has long described. People who interpret setbacks as information rather than identity consistently outperform those who treat them as evidence of fixed limitation. The difference is not talent. It is interpretation. Compassion toward your past self is strength. Karuna, compassion, in Buddhist practice is not weakness or self-indulgence. It is the clear-eyed recognition that suffering exists, that your past self was doing their best under the conditions they faced, and that understanding this is the beginning of genuine change. The version of you in January tried. Maybe they overreached. Maybe they underestimated stress. Thank them. Adjust. Ask yourself, are you planning from fear or clarity? Fear says, prove yourself. Clarity says, build steadily. Drop the identity story. Build the next habit calmly. And now, let's move from understanding to structure. Reset the year in the next 12 minutes. You do not need a weekend retreat. You need 12 quiet minutes. Phase 1, 2-minute direction anchor. Take a pen. Write one sentence. For the rest of 2026, I choose to become someone who, not someone who achieves everything, someone who becomes something. This distinction matters. In Buddhist practice, sankalpa, a Sanskrit term used across Indian contemplative traditions, meaning a heartfelt intention or vow, points inward before it points outward. It asks who you are becoming before it asks what you are doing. Identity precedes action. Intention shapes behavior. For example, for the rest of 2026, I choose to become someone who keeps small promises daily. Or, for the rest of 2026, I choose to become someone who manages money calmly. This sentence is direction, not pressure. Direction. Read it once, slowly. That is enough for now. Phase 2, 10-minute clarity sweep. Set a timer. 3 minutes. Write what drains energy. Be honest. Scrolling. Late nights. Toxic conversations. Unclear goals. Overcommitting. Do not judge. Just list. Next 3 minutes. Write what truly matters. Health. Financial stability. One skill. Family time. Peace of mind. Then 4 minutes. Choose one focus for the next 30 days. Only one, not 5. Maybe it's daily walking. Maybe it's saving a fixed amount. Maybe it's finishing one course. Psychologists call this implementation intention, the practice of narrowing a vague goal into one specific, actionable focus. Research by Peter Gollwitzer at New York University found that people who commit to a single concrete intention are 2 to 3 times more likely to follow through than those holding multiple competing goals. One focus is not limitation. One focus is power. Calm choice. No urgency. You're not racing. You are aligning. Alignment changes the tone of your year. And alignment must be protected from old thoughts. When the I'm behind thought appears, it will return. Do not be surprised. Here is your 30-second reset. Pause for one breath. Label the thought, fear, or comparison. Ask, what is one useful action right now? Then take that action immediately. Send the message. Stand up and stretch. Review your budget. Study one page. Small action restores balance. Stability is not a mood. It is repeated correction. Every time you choose useful action over panic, you train your mind. In Zen Buddhism, there's a phrase: before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. The actions do not change. The relationship to them does. The person who returns to small, useful action after panic is not the same person who panicked. They have practiced. And practice, repeated, becomes character. That training compounds quietly. But there are traps you must recognize. Hidden traps that quietly ruin the rest of the year. Overcorrecting with extremes, choose steady rhythm. Planning from shame, plan from clarity. Comparing timelines, follow personal pace. Waiting for inspiration, act first. Treating early months as identity, treat them as feedback. All or nothing thinking, choose sustainable shifts. Extreme diets, extreme schedules, they collapse. Shame exhausts energy. Clarity conserves it. Psychologist Brené Brown's research found that shame, unlike guilt, does not motivate change. It paralyzes. Guilt says, I did something wrong. Shame says, I am something wrong. Only one of those can be corrected. Different responsibilities, different resources. Motivation follows movement. This is not motivational rhetoric. It reflects how the brain's dopaminergic reward system actually works. Dopamine is released not only in anticipation of reward, but during the act of progress itself. You do not wait to feel ready. You begin, and readiness arrives. Adjust the method, not your worth. Partial improvement counts. Notice the pattern. Each trap is emotional. Each solution is steady. The mind says, you ruined January and February. Wisdom says, you learned something. Learning is progress. Now we anchor this daily. The 10-minute evening alignment ritual. 10 minutes before sleep. No phone. 3 minutes calm breathing. Slow inhale. Slow exhale. Let the day settle. This is not merely relaxation. Slow, deliberate breathing activates the parasympathetic nervous system, the body's rest and digest state, reducing cortisol, lowering heart rate, and allowing the prefrontal cortex, the seat of clear thinking, to come back online after a day of reactive demands. You're not just calming down, you're restoring capacity. 3 minutes, review direction. Read your sentence. For the rest of 2026, I choose to become someone who. Ask, did my actions match this today? No judgment, only observation. This is Svadhyaya, self-study, one of the niyamas in Patanjali's Yoga Sutras, a philosophical tradition closely related to Buddhist introspective practice. The evening review is one of the oldest mental technologies in contemplative history. The Stoic philosopher Seneca described doing this every evening, reviewing the day, noting where he fell short, not in self-punishment, but in quiet self-knowledge. 3 minutes, complete one small action. Prepare tomorrow's clothes. Set out walking shoes. Write tomorrow's priority. Transfer small savings. 1 minute, quiet sentence. Steady effort is enough. This is mental training. Not dramatic, not visible to others, but powerful. Days become weeks. Weeks become months. Months shape a year. And slowly, something changes. You stop reacting to the calendar. You start shaping it. The mind says, you're late. Wisdom says, you're alive, and you have today. The mind says, you wasted 2 months. Wisdom says, you still have 10. The mind says, fix everything now. Wisdom says, build quietly until December. You are not behind. You are at a point of awareness. That is stronger than blind ambition. Ask yourself tonight, what kind of person do I want to be by December? Not what do I want to achieve. Who do I want to become? Disciplined, calm, financially steady, health-focused, less reactive. Choose one quality. Practice it daily. That is how a year transforms. Not in one dramatic moment. In quiet, repeated decisions. Thank you for watching and spending this time strengthening your mind. If this helped you feel steady, like this video, subscribe to Bodhi Ripple, and comment below. I begin again. The year does not change in one dramatic moment. It changes in quiet decisions repeated daily. Begin again and keep walking.